Hello students, my name is Ilona Sekretova and I'm your English teacher. Today we talk about seem, appear and other distancing expressions. Distancing expressions are often used, particularly in journalism, where a speaker or writer wants to stress that the information is second-hand and comes from a specific source, rather than being their own knowledge or opinion. Seem and appear. For example, it seems that the less children sleep, the more likely they are to behave badly. It appears that the less children sleep, the more likely they are to behave badly. Difference between seem and appear. Appear is slightly more formal than seem. For example, it would seem that the less children sleep, the more likely they are to behave badly. It would appear that the less children sleep, the more likely they are to behave badly. This expression is more formal than it seems, it appears. Impersonality, the passive. Using the passive is a way of avoiding the naming of a specific person who is responsible for an action. Patterns. First, it plus passive. Verb agree, announce, believe, expect, hope, report, say, suggest, think and understand, plus that plus clause. For example, it is said that eating garlic stops you catching colds. Second, subject plus passive verb believe, expect, report, say, think and understand, plus to plus infinitive. For example, salaries are expected to go down in a few months. There are said to be more than 200 students waiting to join our school. In third way, there plus passive verb plus to plus infinitive. Apparently, according to, may or might. Apparently, very common in informal conversation. Apparently, there was a robbery last night. Is she pregnant? Apparently. According to specify where information comes from. According to the Prime Minister, there will be a reduction of unemployment in the next 2 years. May, might, possibility. For example, the peace conference may find a solution to the problem. Features of the use of verbs appear, seem, turn out, prove. English verbs to appear, to seem are translated into Russian by verbs of the imperfect form to appear. The Russian verb of the perfect form to appear corresponds to the English verbs to turn out, to prove. These verbs are used as a predicate in sentence with an infinitive. For example, they seemed to be discussing something important. David looks sad. He appears to have heard some bad news. The instrument didn't turn out to be any good. Steve proved to be a careless driver. The verb to seem belongs to the informal colloquial style, while to appear belongs to the literary style. However, they can be used interchangeably in the sentence structure. For example, Cora seems or Cora appears to be happy. Lionel appeared surprised by the news. It should be remembered that when translated such Russian sentence as she seems to have been born in Moscow, he seems to have written a new book, the use of the verbs to appear, to seem should be avoided. Here it is appropriate to use the phrase I think or I believe. Example, I think, I believe she was born in Moscow. I think, I believe he was written a new book. Verbs to turn out, to prove, to be differ in stylistic coloring. The verb to prove belongs to the literary style, and in colloquial speech preference is given to the verb to turn out. Example: she turned out proved to be right. The man turned out proved to be a famous artist. The verb to appear also has the meaning to appear and is not included in this synonym series. Its synonyms are verbs to come in, to arrive, to enter. Example: soon a small dot appeared in the sky above their heads. It was their long-awaited plane. The verb to prove also has the meaning to prove rightness, guilt, etc., and is not included in this synonym series. Its synonyms are verbs to demonstrate, to establish. Example: the exception proves the rule. The man was delighted to prove his skill. In news reports and formal writing, it is common to use the passive forms of reporting verbs, verbs of saying or believing. Using this resource allows us to give information when we don't know for sure whether it is true or not. We distance ourselves from the information. Reporting verbs are verbs such as agree, announce, believe, claim, consider, expect, hope, know, report, say, suggest, think, understand, etc. And we can use their passive form for distancing in two different ways. It is said that. It plus passive reporting verb plus that plus clause, subject and verb. For example, it is believed that the murderer is no longer in the country. It has been announced that they are going to cancel the tour. It has been suggested that the team can be trusted defensively. It was thought that the building could collapse. They are said to be. Subject plus passive reporting verb plus to plus infinitive. For example, he is thought to be a close associate of the terrorist. The terrorist is believed to have fled to the mountains. When we use this pattern, we use the simple infinitive of the continuous infinitive when the reported action is simultaneous to the reporting. For example, he is said to be an art collector. They were believed to be secretly in love. They are thought to be living under strict protection. We can also use the simple infinitive to refer to the future. For example, she is expected to become a superstar. We use the perfect infinitive or the perfect continuous infinitive when the reported action is previous to the reporting, early in the past. For example, she was thought to have left the previous week. He is claimed to have hit another student. He is known to have been hiding somewhere in Panama since he escaped. They are said to be. We can also use the same structure with the pronoun there. For example, there are said to be new leads on the case. There is believed to be a new donor who is partly financing the campaign. Seem and appear. We can also use the verbs seem and appear for distancing ourselves from the information we are giving. It seems, appears that blood clause. For example, it seems, appears that the new series will begin shooting in about 2 months. It would seem, appear that, for example, it means the same as it seems that, but it more formal. It would seem, appear that the situation is finally under control. Subject plus seem, appear to infinitive. For example, the new secretary appears to be very concerned about climate. Simple infinitive. They appear to be having some difficulties. Continuous infinitive. Their leaders appear to have suffered some setbacks. Perfect infinitive. The company appears to have been doing very well over the last year. Perfect continuous infinitive. There seems to be or to have been. For example, there seem to be 2 options for kids. There seems to have been a great response in social media. Apparently, allegedly, according to. There are expressions that we can also use for distancing. Apparently. For example, apparently the new Prime Minister isn't going to visit Cuba until the end of May. Allegedly. We use allegedly to give information when something wrong appears to be done, but there's no proof. He allegedly took a knife and stabbed the victim in the stomach. According to witness, she abandoned the place well after midnight. Might, may. We can also use might or may to speculate and say that something is possible but that maybe it isn't true. For example, they might have fled the scene leaving the victim bleeding on the floor. They may be spending their Christmas holiday together. Look and seem as if or like. After look and seem, but not normally after appear, we can use an as if or like construction. For example, it looks as if it's going to rain again. It looks like we're going to home without a suntan. It seems as if they're no longer in love. It seems like she'll never agree to a divorce. We can also use a that clause after it seems and it appears, but not after look. It looks has to be followed by an as if or like clause. For example, it seems that I may have made a mistake in believing you did this. It appears that you may be quite innocent of any crime. It looks as if or like you won't go to prison after all. Appear or seem, differences in meaning. You can use seem to talk about more objective facts or impressions and about more subjective and emotional impressions. We do not usually use appear to refer to emotions and subjective impressions. Compare the following impressions or emotions. For example, it seems a shame that we can't take Kevin on holiday with us. It doesn't seem like a good idea to leave him here by himself. It seems ridiculous that he has to stay here to look after the cat. More objective facts and impressions. They have the same surname, but they don't appear or seem to be related. She's not getting any better. It appears that she's not been taking the medication. Non-copular use of appear and look. Note that seem is used only as a copular verb, but both appear and look have other meanings and uses. Appear, it means begin to be seen. For example, she has appeared in 5 Broadway musicals since 2000s. Cracks have suddenly appeared in the walls in our lounge. Digital radios for less than 50 euros began to appear in the shops before the end of last year. Look means like direct your eyes search. For example, I've looked everywhere for my passport, but I can't find it. I've looked through all the drawers and through all my files. He didn't see me because he was looking the other way. Note that look is used in a wide range of phrasal verbs. For example, could you look after the children this afternoon while I go shopping? Could you look at my essay before I hand it in? I'm looking for a size 36 in light blue. Do you have it? It's been a hard year. I'm looking forward to a holiday now. I've written a letter, a complaint, and they promised to look into the matter. Look out for me at the concert. I'll probably be there by 10 o'clock. Don't you want to look round the school before enrolling your children? He's a wonderful role model for other players to look up to. If you don't know the meaning of these phrasal verbs, look them up in a dictionary. Let's talk about English literature. English literature has a deep and interesting history. From William Shakespeare, Charles Dickens to Tolkien and Rowling, the world has witnessed some great writers. But what are the most fascinating literary facts? Read all of them below. Interesting facts about English literature. Sherlock Holmes never said elementary, my dear Watson. A language dies every 14 days. The first novel ever written on a typewriter was Tom Sawyer. I am is the shortest complete sentence in the English language. There are only 4 words in the English language which end in dos: tremendous, horrendous, stupendous, and hazardous. Ghosts appear only in 4 Shakespearean plays: Julius Caesar, Richard III, Hamlet, and Macbeth. Microsoft founder Bill Gates bought Codex Leicester, one of Leonardo da Vinci's scientific journals, for a whopping $30,008 in November 1994. Roald Dahl, the author of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, tested chocolates for Cadbury's while he was at school. Marcel Proust remembers of Things Past is the longest book in the world at 9,609,000,000 characters. The book is highly inspired by Proust's personal experiences. Lewis Carroll's book Alice in Wonderland was banned in China, as the book suggests animals can talk and write just like humans, which according to the governor of Henan, China is disastrous. Stewardesses is the longest word that is typed with only the left hand. Dreamed is the only word in the English language to end with mt. No word in the English language rhymes with month, orange, silver, and purple. The only 5-letter word that can be spelled without repeating a letter is uncopyrightable. Swims upside down still looks like swims. The sentence "the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog" uses every letter in the alphabet. The town of Hamelin, Germany, famous for the legend of the rat-catching Pied Piper, has a modern-day rat problem due to the food left by tourists. The name for Oz in The Wizard of Oz was thought up when the creator Frank Baum looked in his filing cabinet and saw A-N and O-Z, hence Oz. Aloha is a Hawaiian word that means both hello and goodbye. The longest English word without a vowel is rhythm. The Times, UK's newspapers, of 22 August 1978 contained the most number of misprints, about 97. In one story about the Pope, he was called the Pope. Throughout the article. The Most Trap by Agatha Christie is the longest running play in history. All of the roles in Shakespeare's plays were originally acted by men and boys. In England, at the time, it wasn't proper for females to appear on stage. The original story from Tales of 101 Arabian Nights begins Aladdin was a little Chinese boy. John Milton used 8,000 different words in his poem Paradise Lost. Silent and listen are spelled with the same letters. Thank you for attention. Our lesson is over. Goodbye.